Hi, it's Rabbi Chaim Kaufman. Welcome to our 285th installment in the Torah portion of the week. We are holding by Parshas Vayigash. Parshas Vayigash, Yosef admits to his brothers that he's Yosef and they don't know what to say. And he conciliates, with his brothers, and he tells them, don't worry, this is why God sent me, to save you and to save the family. And Pharaoh joins in the welcome. Jacob receives the news. Jacob is going to come, and is going to come and see Joseph and all the people that came out of Jacob who go down Egypt, etc. So the Torah says, chapter 47, verse 22, and it says, only the land of priests he did not buy, since the priests had a stipend from Pharaoh. They lived off the stipend that Pharaoh had given them. Therefore, they did not sell the land. And here we're talking about where Yosef acquires all the land. Right? They're all basically starving. So people sold their land. Right? They sold the land to Pharaoh because of the overwhelming famine. But what land did he take? He didn't take the lands of the priests. Right? Now, this is significant. This is an interesting thing, that even Pharaoh understood that the land of the priests, you're not gonna take. Right? So says Moiv Rebbe, Arav going to Moshe Machlit, this should be well. And he brings down a Chochmah V'das, and he says the following. He says the Egyptians, it's a tremendous wonder over here, that the Egyptians were over the Avodah Zarah. Right? They served idols, they're involved in immorality, etc. But what do they understand? They understand, even with all the terrible things they do, they understood you don't touch the priests. They don't touch the priests. Priests are holy. You don't mess with them. And even when Pharaoh, we're going to see in the book of Exodus, Pharaoh's going to make the Jewish people work hard, enslave them. Who didn't he enslave? He did not enslave Shevet Levi, right? The tribe of Levi. The Levites, God, he doesn't enslave. Why? Because they were priests. They were considered priests, so he didn't touch them. Right? But Rebbe says, what's the percentage? What is the percentage of these priests, of the Levites, Kohanim? What's the percentage for the regular population? 10%. They only represent 10%. They didn't touch them. They didn't enslave them. So we see the ways in the last generation, we see what evil people want to do to Shevet Levi. Who's Shevet Levi today? People learn Torah. People sit here and learn Torah. Right? So what do they want to do here? What do they want to do here in Israel? Right? We're going to speak about this, more in depth. But essentially, what did they want to do? They wanted to take religious Jews, put them in the army, right? And claim everyone's got to take the burden, right? Everyone has to do the army. So there's a quite interesting story. Talks about how divine providence works. And that's God doesn't forget people who serve him. That he's going to uphold and continue to establish these yeshivas, right? The yeshivas in the land of Israel, without serving the army, right? So when the state was first founded, head of the state, Ben-Gurion, what did he say? He wanted everyone to be Magais, everyone to be part of the army. He says that this place is not like outside of Israel. Everyone's got to serve. We don't have enough people. Everyone's got to serve. Because of all the enemies around us, that was his claim. So great rabbis of the generation met with him. I go into this is all in Meltzer's also, a blessed memory. The Rebbe from Chabin, Ramosha Chalop. I mean, these are Tzadikei Oilok. These are like greatest rabbis of the generation. Heads of the Yeshiva of Hebron, heads of the Yeshiva of Mir. They all went to him. They all met with him. And they explained to him that, again, we're going to flush this out a little bit. And that is that if you take yeshiva students, you put them in the army, you're going to destroy them. You're going to destroy the world of Torah. You're going to destroy the yeshiva system. What did Ben-Gurion answer? He said, we're small people. Everyone's going to do their obligation. Everyone's going to fulfill what they need to fulfill. So they have to serve. So one of the rabbis said, reminded him what happened in Europe. And how, yeshivas, places got totally wiped out. And if you're going to do that, it's a scriptum in the army. That's worse. You're going to destroy them spiritually. Right? That's worse than what Yemashimoy V'Zichloy did. Right? May his name be brought out, may rots. So what did Ben-Gurion say? He screamed out and he said, I understand you. You want a museum. Remembrance of Europe. You want like a remembrance of Europe because Europe got wiped out. Right? And a lot of religious Jews got wiped out. So what did Ben-Gurion say? He said, okay. He said, I'm willing to exempt you, right? And all yeshiva students, so you can have your museum. So you can have your last remembrance of Europe. But what did he think was going to happen? He didn't think we're going to multiply, we're going to grow. And we grew day to day, month to month, year to year. Right? But what happened? He wanted to stop this exemption. But what happened? The exemption went through, regardless how much the religious people multiplied. Right? It went back to where he lived in Sdei Boker, in the Negev, in the south. And he said upon himself, he said he made one mistake. He made one mistake in his life. And that he exempted the Bnei Yeshiva. He exempted them from serving the army. That was his mistake. Because what did he think? He thought because of destruction to the yeshivas and the religious Jews in Europe, no one was going to learn. Who's going to learn anymore? Torah's going to be forgotten. So he agreed. He agreed to exempt around 1,500 students of yeshiva, right, that were eligible to serve in the army. Is it okay? So I'll exempt them. They're going to be a fossil anyway. They're going to be like a museum. So that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of it. We see, Baruch Hashem, thank God he got tens of thousands sitting and learning, but he exempted. He totally exempted. We see, Rebbe here says, God made his mind go south, so to speak. Totally confused him. He thought, oh, they're going to be a museum. What was the big deal? So I'll exempt them. Big mistake. Big mistake. Now, what's the issue? Right? What's the issue over here? So the issue is that what's their goal? What essentially is the goal of the army? You say the goal of the army, is to serve. Everyone's going to serve, right? Share the burden. Doesn't matter. Women can serve. Men have to serve. Why should yeshiva students be exempt? Again, Ben-Gurion made a mistake. He never thought in a million years that the world of the yeshiva is going to expand like it has. He thought they're going to die. One generation finished. But now we see that's not the case. Well, people say, what's the big deal? What's the big deal over here? The reality is, what does the army want? What does the army want? And what's the goal? So when they speak today, and even in Ben-Gurion's time about share the burden, what essentially do they want? They want us to be like them. There won't be kashrus in the army. They won't give them time to pray, other things. They want us to be like them. You have to remember the state of Israel is set up to wipe out any form of Judaism. Well, thank God you got, religious parties, to keep the status quo, religious-wise. Not always successful, but, it'd be a lot worse if they weren't, if they weren't in the government. True. But the whole goal of the states is to uproot Torah. If you read the Jewish state, no question about it. It's what Herzl wanted. Uproot Torah. A state of Jews, not a Jewish state. Maybe, you have a few Jewish things here and there, but not, nothing more than that. We should be like everybody else, and Am Chovshi, as they sing. In the song Hatikva, free nation. What does a free nation mean? So you could say it means just free from persecution. Jews can live together. Not fear about being persecuted by non-Jews. Or you say it, Am Chovshi, I think this is what it really means. A nation free from Torah. Free from obligation. So make no mistake, that's what the Zionists want. And that's what they want today. This last government, don't get into politics. That was their goal, to uproot all kinds of norms that were going on here. Have anyone do conversions, kashrus. Be a disaster. An absolute disaster. Thank God they're out of power. Let's see. First of all, they don't need more people in the army. But it's a theological issue. Or let's say better, an ideological issue. You're going to say, shouldn't everybody serve? What expense? The people not sitting and learning, they have separate units for them. Okay. But spiritually, it'd be a disaster. Orthodox Jews and secular Jews would be a disaster. They'll have much more influence, over us than we would of them. But keep in mind one thing. You're going to have men and women together, 18, 19 years old, hormones going crazy. Everybody should know on the books, there's a law. And that law is that if a woman gets pregnant in the army, she has the right to up to 3 free abortions. On the books. But they're defending the country. They should be respected for defending the country. True? right? But that spiritual influence, or let's say better, the mixture, men and women and all that, disaster. Be disaster. Who's going to be able to stand to withstand such a temptation? It's the same. Now you get separate units. All right, there are other issues. There are other issues as well. Forget it. If a person's not going to be learning, they shouldn't serve. No question. But there are a lot of spiritual issues here. Right? So Ben-Gurion going over here made a serious mistake. He thought these yeshiva students are going to be what? Going to be a museum. And if they're going to be a museum one generation, he never thought they'd expand of tens of thousands of students. He would have known that, he never would have done it. 100% he wouldn't have done it. So the Rebbe here says, came on Kodesh Baruch Hu, came on God and messed up his mind. Right? And he did something that he said that's the one thing he had regrets. It's for our advantage. But make no mistake, the army, the state of Israel, their goal is 100% to uproot Torah. That's their goal. That's what they want. So why should we send any one of our kids into the army? It's spiritual suicide. That's what it is. We have an obligation to educate our kids properly. So I would agree. If they're not learning, maybe it's a good thing for them to do the army. They're not learning full time anyway. Right? But in general, you're going to make someone learning day and night, working on the character traits and all that, and you're going to put them in that environment? No. That was our advantage. Ben-Gurion made that mistake. Right? But again, even if you're going to, it's a very hot topic. Because even if you're going to say, share the burden, we have an obligation to serve, keep one thing in mind. They don't even need us in the army. It's not about numbers. And even the time of King David, there was a standing army. Not everyone joined. You need people to pray, to learn for the army's success. You need that also. People say, fine, but how many? You don't need tens of thousands. Right? That's the answer. You need both. You definitely need both. But now they want to enact laws and say, okay, we'll let you take we'll let you keep the cream of the crop. But everyone else will take. Okay, no solution. Because it's not about share the burden. That's what they say, but that's not the issue. The issue is we want you to be like us. That's the issue. And if you're going to make that an issue, we're never going to send one. Because that's going to have much more damage to us than the influence we could have on them. So I want to remind everyone, I have a class every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, duties of the heart, gate of self-inspection. Sunday, back to Sunday, have a normal schedule. We have Book of Leviticus chapter 16, 9 o'clock Eastern time, 4 o'clock Israel time. No-eyed nations, no-eyed laws. That's going to be Sunday, 2:30 Eastern time, 9:30 Israel time. Q&As, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Tanakh talk, controversial issues. Every Thursday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Pirkei Avos, ethics of our fathers. 2 o'clock Eastern time, Saturday, 9 o'clock Israel time. I also have conversion classes. Anyone interested in any of this, find me on Facebook at Michael Chaim Kaufman or Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, or you can send me an email, RabbiChaimKaufman@gmail.com, RBBIChaimKoffman@gmail.com.